Stillsville. Welcome back to my channel. This is Prime Analog Records. I'm Matt, and today I wanted to talk to you about, I had just came back from an antique store that I frequent. And as I was going through there, I was realizing that there's a lot of people who make a lot of mistakes when they're going crate digging and all that kind of stuff, and going through these collections and stuff like that. And I made some notes on some things that I wanted to address. The first thing is that when I first go into these places, I go in positively skeptical. Meaning that I'm positive, and I'm in a real positive mood, and I believe, I'm going to find some stuff. But at the same time, I'm not a kid in a candy store going wild and oh my gosh, look at that, and it's a grail and all this kind of stuff. And I don't do that. Here's what I do. The first thing I go in, I go through all the records. Actually, this place that I told them today, or yesterday actually, I told them that they should have a new arrivals bin. That way, regulars like me don't have to go back through the entire bunch, trying to find records that we've already sifted through. So it makes that job a little easier. But go ahead and give suggestions to the proprietor of the business, because a lot of times this is new to them. They've never been involved in record sales and all this kind of stuff, most of them. And this is one of the things that, I think that there must have been an article that came out in something like Antiques Monthly or something that said that records are gold, because a lot of these people are charging like they're gold. And I got to tell you, I have to do a lot of education on these on a lot of these trips. So here's what I do. I go in. The first thing I do is I go through and I pull all the records that I'm interested in. I mean, every one. I pull. It might be 20 or 30 or whatever, but I go through and I'll just pull every single one, and I put them in a stack for myself. Then I go up to the counter, if it's a big enough counter or a workspace, or a little workspace or area, and I go through all the records and pulling them out, and I make sure I check against the label, to make sure, first of all, the record that the record is the right record for it, and that the label matches the sleeve. Because a lot of times you go in there and they'll have a different album altogether. You go in and you think you got a Foghat album, and you've got Engelbert Humperdinck in it. So not a good setup. So anyway, you got to check that. A lot of times what they're doing now is they're doing what I call Franken album, with like Frankenstein, where they'll piece pieces together, and they'll put insides together in something that doesn't make sense, and it's the wrong sleeve, and it's the wrong like I said, the wrong record, the wrong label in with the sleeve. So you got to make sure that that's not happening. Okay, make sure that right then is when I do my visual inspection of the record. But I don't do a really super visual inspection. What I do is I disqualify through this process. I disqualify albums. It's like if it's there's something amiss with it, I'll just put it to the side and I'll put it back. I do this whole process very much like I do when I edit film, and I've edited film for 35 years for my business. And what I do is I go through and I pick out. I go very quickly through the whole shoot, and or the whole setup for that one shot. And I go through all the images very quickly, and I pick ones that I like, that look pretty good. Then I only look at those from that point on. I put a dot on every single one of those. From that point on, then I'm going to put 2 dots on the ones that I've scrutinized higher. By the time I get to putting 3 dots on, I'm becoming such a dick about it that, I mean, every little thing, every little nuance that's wrong, boom, it's out. So I can edit pretty quickly. And it's the same kind of thing with this. I go through the same kind of process. I make sure that the corners are straight. If there's a bump on a corner, if it's not too bad. If there's a seam split, it's pretty much a disqualification for me. Unless part of the album's coming apart, part of the sleeve's coming apart, and I can actually get my glue stick in there and fix that. And that's a no-brainer. That's easy. So anyway, I take my glasses because I need to see really good, and I've got magnification glasses, and then I put a light on it and make sure I'm in good light. And usually you're not getting good light in these antique malls, and so to speak. So what I do is I pull out my phone and I use the flashlight on the phone. That usually works pretty good because you can work different angles and stuff like that. I really don't worry too much about dirt on there if it's dirty and stuff like that. These guys haven't cleaned these things at all. I'm looking for groove wear and scratches, and that's the main thing. Everything else I can take care of with my ultrasonic. And then also what I do is I look these things up on Discogs. I mean, it seems like a lengthy process. It's not. It's very quick. Once you get used to doing this, it's very quick to do, and you can look up by the time. But like I said, get through the others, the scrutiny on the ones that can't be or that you're not going to use, and you've already disqualified them. Put those to the side. Now you're getting down to the 3-dot thing, like I told you about the film editing, and that is what I use for Discogs. And I go in there and I check out what Discogs is. I look at the median price. Whatever they're asking is generally outrageous at this place that I go to. They have gone through and they've looked at the highest price part on Discogs, and they price accordingly. And I'm like, you have to kind of educate these people, soft sell it, but you have to educate them because they need to understand what this is. And I go through these things on Discogs with the owner or the proprietor of the shop, and I'll take my phone and I'll take it and I'll show it to them what the price really is, and then I'll tell them what I'm willing to pay for it. If they want to sell it at that, they can opt in or opt out. I mean, it's just up to them. But I mean, you've got a buyer right there, and so that's the way that is. So anyway, I also look for water damage and then I look at the label and make sure it's not been scratched on or ripped or something. Somebody's written on it or something like that. Like I said, don't worry about dirt and stuff like that. A lot of that stuff you can clean off. So you've got to make a judgment on if you can clean it or not, or if it's uncleanable. But what I also say is when you have this stack of records, now that you've gone through and you've got this stack of records, let's say you've got like a stack like I've got here, I don't hesitate at all to ask for a discount. And they understand that, you're not cheating them, but you have, cut their price because their price was outlandish, but I mean, like I said, if somebody owns something, they can charge whatever they want for it, but they'll never get it back out. So, just let them know that you're going to be a consistent buyer, you're going to be a consistent customer, and that, let's play fair, and let's have a situation where it's a win-win for both of us. And I generally I start out asking for a 20%. If it's around, between 7 and 10 or 15 albums, I'll ask for 20% discount on top of everything else. If for nothing else, it offsets the tax. Anyway, that's pretty much what I do. If they balk at that, go 15 or go 10. But whatever it is, I'll show you some of the ones that I just picked up the other day, and they went through the same process and all this kind of stuff. And I got this, Fool for the City. This is a great album. I've meant to have this. I had this when I was a kid, and I haven't been able to find a really good copy, but this is in great shape. It's got everything there is that's supposed to be. And I haven't cleaned these yet. I'm down at the Grove, obviously, because I'm here with the records all behind me. So I'm here right before the hurricane and all this kind of stuff coming through. So I've tried to get some stuff taken care of and buttoned down here before the hurricane hits us in the next. It's supposed to be here in a day and a half or so. But here's a real beautiful find, and especially, me with the OGs and all this stuff, and I've been talking about, not doing this analog production stuff with, $150 album, and especially I don't need to. Look at the condition of this. There's sharp corners all the way around. There's a little teeny bit of ring wear here, just a little bit. The record looks like it's unplayed. It's look at that. And this is before, like I said, I have not cleaned these. This is the way I got them from the shop. I got this Dire Straits Communique, which is I've been wanting for a while, and I'm not going to buy this is digital. This was digitally recorded in the first place, so I'm not going to turn around and buy a mobile fidelity of this. I've got a mobile fidelity of a Dire Straits album that has Sultans of Swing on it, and it's amazing. It sounds amazing, but I have a feeling this is going to sound just as good once I clean it up and stuff. All right, Embryonic Robot was talking about this group the other day. I've heard of them, but I've never heard any album of theirs. But I got this orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. And look how beautiful that is. I just got to get this stupid price. Why do these people affix these price tags to the main jacket? It's beyond me. It's aggravating as hell. But anyway, this looks beautiful. It looks and I said to myself, Embryonic Robot has talked. He did like a whole series on these orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark albums. So how can I lose on that? Found this Half Speed Mastered Heavy Weather Report. This is one of the greatest jazz albums that's ever been done. Jazz fusion. Jaco Pastorius, Joe Zawinul, Wayne Shorter, Alex Acuna. It's on and on. I mean, this almost every great jazz player in their collection, they say this is in the top 10 of their favorite albums. All right, and I got Pink Floyd, Momentary Lapse of Reason. And I have not had this in my collection. And I got this for a song. And I'm really looking forward to playing this and getting this on the turntable. I found this. I'm not a big Michael Jackson fan, but I found this, and it's sealed. Michael Jackson's greatest. It's a best of. It's like a greatest hits. And I streamed it because I saw this in the store last time and nobody picked it up. But I mean, this is sealed. It's absolutely sealed, and I'm gonna probably leave it sealed. I got that for very inexpensively. And my favorite one that I got in the last in this haul was this one here. And I've been looking for this myself for a while, and this is Steely Dan Gaucho. And it's in the shrink. Unbelievable. It's in amazing condition. The album, the vinyl looks like it's never been played. And I believe this is a repress, but I don't mind because I don't have that in my collection. So anyway, to wrap up, also I wanted to throw this in because I've seen some videos talking about cleaning, and they're talking about, wet plus, when they're cleaning their records, they say dry clean first with a felt brush, and then wet clean after. I don't think so. The reason why is because you get bits of dust and dirt that you run around on, and I've done both. I used to do this myself. I used to do the dry brush and all this kind of stuff, and I've pretty much stopped the dishwasher stuff because unless something's severely, super dusty and I need to take some of that off so it doesn't foul my water and my ultrasonic cleaner, what I do is I'll generally I just go right into the ultrasonic. And the reason why is because there's no question in my mind what you're doing when you run that brush around on there. You're running around and you're scratching your record. You're doing unneeded damage to your vinyl. So I believe that unless you have an outrageously filthy album, I would not suggest using any of this. This guy that I was listening to said water plus, dirt equals mud, and it gets to, it's not with an ultrasonic. It doesn't. It's absolutely nil. It doesn't matter at all. So anyway, that's pretty much my video. I never had to even do a cut, so I just ran right through this. So I'm getting better at this, I guess. Let me know in the comments what you do and how you do it, as far as tips and tricks that you do in these antique places and these places you dig in crates and stuff like that. If you've got some more information or something that I missed, stick it in the comments. I'd really appreciate it because I'd really like to know more. I'm no expert by any means. I'm just telling you the way I do it and the way it's worked for me. But anyway, let's hopefully all my records behind me, all that stuff will all be fine after this hurricane. So I'm going to definitely listen to some music today to calm down and be relaxed. So anyway, signing out, and have a great rest of the week.